everybody, it's Vicki with the Lavinia World Video Design Team, and I'm here today going to share a fun card with you. It's a little different than our normal, or my normal backgrounds when I use a torn piece of paper to make some hills and valleys. With this one, we're not going to do that. We're actually just going to blend all of the inks. I'm going to be using archival, Ranger archival inks, VersaFine Clair, and one color of the StazOn, mostly just because I like the colors and the way that they'll all blend together. We're going to use the Fairy Fir Tree, we're going to use Ariel, and we're going to use one of the Whimsical Hairs. And when I make this type of a card, I actually kind of do all the colors at once, and I can knock out an entire set of note cards pretty quickly. So let's get started. First, so I've matted my card on white on an A2 card. So my working surface is actually going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm going to start with the yellow, which is the Sunflower Yellow from Ranger Archival. And this is a very orangey yellow. So but I couldn't find the original yellow that I used, and I just had it when I was making my display card. But so we're going to use this. I'm going to ink up my brush, and I don't know if you can tell from there, but I'm actually working in the dark. I felt like the color showed up a little bit better for you. So I'm going to ink this up quite a bit. I want my brush to be wet, but I'm going to start off my card because I want it to be nice and smooth and soft as I put the ink on the paper. So I'm starting from the bottom, and I'm going to bring this yellow all the way to the top, nice and soft, but starting off the paper. And we're going to do the entire center of our card in the yellow. And I guess you could do this top to bottom on this one, but I'm going to try to work backwards so you can see that. So you can see I've got this nice soft yellow down the middle. If I were to do that darker, it's still yellow, it's just darker than I want. I want more of a pastel look. Now I'm going to use the Cactus Green on the StazOn, and this is a pretty true sticker to the color that it is, and I just love the color green. So I'm going to do the exact same process. I'm going to get my brush pretty wet, and I'm going to start off the paper so that I don't get anything hard, and I'm going to come up to the side. And I'm going to leave just barely a little bit of white. It's almost colored in there, just won't be able to see it. And I didn't start quite far enough off there. So we'll come in, I'm going to shade that just a little bit. And then we're blending. I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other side. And you'll see on my edges, I didn't come quite far off as I wanted to there. But we're going to have a tree there, so I think it's going to blend okay. I've only come up about 3/4 of the way on my page because this is where we're going to add our next 2 colors. Okay, so we are done with that one. So now I'm going to go back to my archival ink, my Ranger, and this one is the Fuchsia Vibrant, or Vibrant Fuchsia, and it's a real pretty pink. So I'm going to get my pink brush here. Let's make sure that says purple. Where did our pink brush go? Here's pink. And again, I'm going to get it wet. I'm going to turn this around. I'm trying to work in your direction here. And starting off the paper, because again, and I'm going to put this in the center, beside the yellow, leaving the outside there. Okay? So it almost gives us a little bit of an orangey look when you blend. And bring it into the green just a little bit. Okay, so if you're following along with me, you should now have something that looks similar to this. Alright, I'm done with my pink. I may go back in and fill it in, but for now we're going to put that to the side. And I have got the cactus flower, which is pretty true to this color, so it's not quite purple, but it's not pink. And we're going to do the outside. Again, I'm getting my brush nice and wet. I'm starting off the paper. And you could use a darker purple if you wanted to, but nice and soft off the paper, because you still want to see the colors, but you want them to blend. Okay, I am probably going to go back in with my pink when we're all finished, but for now we're going to put that to the side. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to stamp my trees, and I don't have a block that's long enough for those, but I've just used kind of a rectangle block, and because it's that card, the tree is actually too long for it anyway, which works on our behalf in our best interest there. But so I am going to start with I'm using the Warm Breeze. So let me back up. That is the VersaFine Clair. It's the Warm Breeze. We will also do our moon silhouette with that. I'm going to ink that up really good, and then I want to try to line that up since this is on here diagonally, and this one is going to go as far up as we can, and you could do it a little off the page if you wanted to. And I'm just going to press it down. And I want to let that ink set in there. This happens to be marker paper, so the ink will sit for a second. So allow yourself, you know, some time to let that ink dry. And then I'm going to take it off. This is a new VersaFine pad, so I don't worry about that I've missed anything in there. It's nice and wet, so it gave us a great impression there. Just going to stamp off the excess here. And now I'm going to pull out the pink. This is the Charming Pink from VersaFine Clair. That is a true sticker on the top. You don't have to worry about the color. And I like this pink. Sometimes when I'm blending with the VersaFine Clair, they're a little wetter than the archivals, so I tend to be heavy with the ink there. I'm going to turn this sideways away from you, just so I can line it up. And again, I'm going to put them at about the same place, and I'll put it down, and I'm going to allow that ink to absorb into the paper. Give it a little bit of a press. I'm going to pull it up, and we're perfect. Now, I had a little bit of blue left on there, so you'll want to wipe yours off if you don't want it to blend into your blue like that, but I'm not going to worry about that for this one. And then I am going with the Monarch, and this is the prettiest purple that I have. I just love it. It's just almost regal. And I'm going to put that one on my fairy fir tree and ink it up really good. And I'm going to pop this down right beside the pink one. And it's okay that it's on top of it. And again, I'm just going to press it down really good. Try not to rock so I don't get the edges where the ink is flown over, and peel it off. So now we are done with the fairy fir tree and with those two colors. So let me turn this up so you can see. We now have purple, the pink, and the Warm Breeze in our card. So we're there. And so now what I'm going to do is I am going to put Ariel and the hair down here. Now, I have just recently re-inked my Nocturne VersaFine Clair, so hopefully we can get her one, maybe two. So this is the Nocturne. And if you all didn't know, we actually have the refill inkers on the website now for most of the colors, and which is awesome. Okay, so I've inked her up really good. I'm going to put her down. I'm going to give her a press all over, especially by her wings to make sure we got enough ink. Just pressing her down. She's one of my favorites. Ariel. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and ink her just one more time, make sure she's in the same spot. Apologize for the shaking. All right. Let that set. All right, we are done with the black. Perfect. And I didn't smear her. So, as you can see now, and all of those great colors show through on her wings here. Such a wish. Love it. Okay, so now what I want to do is I have a pre-cut 1.5 inch just circle that I punched out. You can use a die and you can make it bigger or smaller, however you wanted to. And I'm going to put that right here. I'm going to cover her head because I want to get some silhouette here and behind. Let me bring that down just a little bit. Behind it too. So let me come over. You could put it wherever you wanted to. Then I've already got enough ink on my blending tool, so I'm really okay. And I'm just flicking off the edges. Just a little bit. And one of the things that I like about putting it right here is that blending it where we had that pink gives it just a little bit of a purple hue, and then of course on the yellow gives it a little bit of a green, even though it's still that blue. Don't forget to do behind it, up here as well, and then just at the top. You can be as heavy or light-handed as you want with this, just depends on your style. And then there, it's perfect. I really like how that one turned out. A little heavy up here, but we're okay. I wipe my fingers off because I had the other end. Okay, so now I told you I was going to come back with the pink, and I am, because I want just a little more pink through here. Even though that's purple on that side, I want to show just a little more of the pink. So I'm taking my pink, and I'm coming off. I don't want it to be too dark, so just coming in. Just a little bit of color there. All right. Now, one of the other things that I do, a lot of times I'll use Nuvo drops because that's one of my favorite things to work with. I just love the way they embellish cards. But for this one, I'm just using some basic craft ink, and this is called Plum. It's purple. Looks really nice with the Monarch. So I've squirted a little spot on my scrap piece of paper here, and I'm just going to use a pointer. Really, it's not even a pointer. I think it's used to poke out things with a die or even a scoring tool. But I want to just little tiny dots, and I'm going to create just a little bit of something around my moon here. And you can put as many or as little as you want. You can make them big or little. You could maybe just do half if you wanted to. I guess you could even use every color that you used in your card. I don't typically do that because I would feel like I wouldn't be able to get the pattern and or kind of evenness that I like to work with. Make sure we get in the back so that it draws attention to the whole card. And we're just going around. And again, as many or as little as you want. Then I'm going to put a few more down here because I want the focus to be the whole card. I typically dot in threes, kind of works in my head a little bit. And I think that's good. I don't think I want any more. Now, if you wanted to add any extra to this card, you could always go back in with your green and put a little shadowing here if you wanted to. You could take a white gel pen or a glitter pen and add that into her hair and along her wings if you wanted to. But I really just like the simplicity of this card, and it looks like we have just done so much with it. But we really just put some ink on a card, and it was all done. So the only thing left for me is to add this to my card base, but I'll wait until that ink dries. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of just a fine mica powder, and I use my brush, a chiseled brush, and I just kind of flick it down and then tap it. And the glitter is going to stick to it. I don't know if you can see that in the video. But there is a little bit of shimmer to it, and then I just spray it with some aerosol spray. But I want to let everything dry before I start adding, otherwise my powder or even my glitter is going to stick there. And it's perfect. It's a great little note card. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you see what everybody else has to offer. We have some wonderful artists that just provide so much inspiration. We also have an account with Instagram. You can follow us there. You can join our challenges on the Lavinia World website, or you can even join the challenges in our Lavinia World Facebook page. We do member exchanges, and it's really one of the most supportive groups that I've had the opportunity to work and create with. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, let me know. I will link to as many of the products as I've shown, especially the stamps, which is, again, Ariel, our fairy fir tree, and one of the whimsical hares. So have a great day, and thanks for spending some time with me.